3:21 a.m. Thursday, June the 4th, 2020, and we are up getting ready to teach and inspire people in jail and prison across America. My name is Michael Santos. I am with Prison Professors, and today we are going to begin the fourth class in our program that we call the Straight A Guide, which includes 10 steps to prepare for success regardless of where you are, at what stage you are in the journey. And today we are continuing our work by bringing programs inside of an East Coast jail that is holding people, some of whom are going home in a month, some of whom are facing a life sentence in prison. The belief that we have is that the decisions a person makes at the earliest stage in the journey has an enormous influence on whether that person is going to put himself on a pathway for success. And so in day one, we spoke really a lot about the importance of defining success concerning where you are at this given stage in your life. If you don't want to end up like people who go into the jail system or go into the prison system and start this treadmill of struggle and failure, then it's important to change the mindset. And this is a lesson that I learned from leaders across America. I am so grateful to have learned this lesson at the very start of a journey that took me through 26 years in federal prison. I was in the Pierce County Jail. An officer was kind enough to give me a book about Socrates. That book helped me realize one thing, that I had been living by a bad philosophy. Instead of thinking about what I could contribute to the making of a better world, I was thinking about the challenges that I was going through and facing a sentence of life without the possibility of parole. And when I started, I had the wrong mindset. And because I had the wrong mindset, I made some bad decisions while I was still locked inside of that jail. It wasn't until after I went through a trial, after I committed new criminal charges by taking the witness stand, saying that I didn't do it, committing perjury, exposing myself to a new indictment, that I really woke up. And I woke up by reading this story of Socrates, who helped me live by this concept of asking Socratic questions. What are Socratic questions? They're asking us, well, if I want to get this outcome, what are going to be the opportunity costs if I choose this, if I go this path, or if I go this path? So it's really important for me to teach this concept of defining success and then helping people make the incremental goals that they have to achieve in order to advance the possibilities for success. Those are the two prerequisites, and that's why on Monday and Tuesday of this week, we spoke about defining success, and then we spoke about creating this roadmap of incremental goals. That is the prerequisite that launches us into the Straight A Guide, which you see right there on the circle of this PowerPoint slide. And I use this concept to help people understand it doesn't matter where you are. What you've got to do is begin restoring confidence, restoring dignity. And you do that by developing a methodical plan. We talk about a three-legged stool that we need to develop. Each of us need to develop. First, we need to create our own strategy and we need to document it. And that's what the Straight A Guide is. It is evidence of how I documented a strategy that would help me overcome the turmoil of a 45-year prison sentence. And right now in America, there are millions of people going through turmoil. We have 40 million people filing unemployment claims, and it's Thursday morning on the East Coast. It won't be long before they release the new unemployment numbers. A lot of people in civil unrest across the country. And if that's going on outside, it's really important for people in jail and prisons to begin thinking about this, because the decisions that they are making right now is going to have an enormous influence on how they are going to be able to emerge into this climate. And it doesn't matter whether it is a climate of civil unrest and difficult employment, or you're getting out in a time of prosperity where there is very low unemployment rates. What's really important is that we are able to define what success is going to look like in our life, document a strategy of how we are going to go from the struggle we're living in right now to the level of success that we're aspiring to build. If we can document that strategy, then we can get ourselves in the mindset of creating tools and tactics that will help us succeed. We have got to develop them ourselves. We can't wait for somebody else to give us those tools. The onus is on us to develop how we are going to communicate, create our elevator pitch, have a plan that's going to show, even if somebody is not going to hire me, I am going to have a plan to build my own income stream, to build my own confidence, to live in the world as it exists rather than as we want it to be. We have to be masters of pragmatism. We have to be practical. We have to develop these tools, but then we got to build the third leg of our stool, which requires us to hold ourselves accountable. And for people in jail and prison, that's more important than a lot of other people, because you've got to sustain this level of energy as days turn into weeks, as weeks turn into months, as months turn into years, and for some, as years turn into decades. But if you can develop this strategy that you document, if you can develop tools and tactics, and if you can measure your progress every single day, you are going to begin restoring confidence. You are going to figure out how to build and complete and sustain that high level of energy and discipline as you go through this journey. That's what I had to learn as I was climbing through 9,500 days in prison, where every day I didn't know when I was going to get out, but I knew when I came out, I would be ready, just like the students of this class are going to be ready. And I'm so excited to be able to bring this program into jails and prisons across America so that I can help people understand, hey, the friends that you choose are going to have an enormous influence on what you do. The activities that you pursue are going to determine whether you are going to be a good candidate for the success that you want to achieve, or whether you're going to be back on this treadmill of struggle. And that treadmill is really difficult, because the more you commit to that treadmill, the faster it starts to go, the harder it is to keep up. And if you're doing things that are going to keep you in trouble, such as trying to build a reputation in prison, there are bad consequences that can follow. And that's why it's so important to see, what does success look like? What does it look like in the weeks, months, years, decades ahead? How are my decisions today going to influence what I become tomorrow? To the extent that we can help people see that, we really grow. And that's why in today's podcast, or today's episode, where I'm going to be speaking about aspiration, the importance of visualizing success, even if that success is not going to come for years or decades away. Even people who are facing life sentences have the capacity to change the way that they think. And that mindset shift is what makes all the difference in the world. So today, we are going to go through the same process that we have been using throughout this teaching, which is we're going to begin at 6 a.m. Pacific time, 9 a.m. Eastern time, and we're going to be recapping this importance of making values-based, goal-oriented decisions. And then we're going to talk a lot about the importance of creating this methodical, deliberate approach. In an earlier lesson, I used the analogy of McDonald's. And when I was talking about using McDonald's, is of whether I am in Virginia or I am in San Jose, California, the McDonald's hamburger is going to be the same in both places. Why is that? It's because the founder of that organization created this really methodical, deliberate approach. He had a vision of making sure that everything was exactly the same in his restaurants, from the time that it was kept in the freezer, from much before that, the time they order, the process of the complete customer experience, how they cook, how they clean, what the restaurants look like. Everything was really methodical. And McDonald's may not make the best hamburger in the world, but they certainly have the best delivery system in the world. And that did not happen by accident. Just as a person in jail or prison does not come out successfully by accident. A person has to pursue a very methodical, deliberate adjustment program. And in order to sustain the energy for a really long period of time, as I had to do, going through 9,500 days in prison, 26 years, to put that in perspective, a person goes in today, he doesn't come out until 2046. But every single one of those days, this individual has to be thinking about, what can I become? How am I going to get there? And that's one of the lessons that I strive to teach in this lesson on aspiration. I'll be putting people in the hot seat, helping them share with us what is their strategy. And you'll see us publishing this information on the Prison Professor's YouTube channel, because I want people to learn. I want them to figure out how they can develop a high level of energy and discipline if they create plans and priorities. That's what's really essential. If a person is getting out of jail in 5 months or 6 months, that individual may have a different plan and a different set of priorities from the individual who is facing a life sentence, or an individual who knows he's going to prison for 10 years. The reality is, the sooner that we can create these plans and priorities, the sooner we are going to begin restoring confidence and being able to build a story showing that we are in control of our life. And when we do that, when we create our plans and we create our priorities, we have to make sure that we're assessing them, determining how are these relating to what we said is important in our life. That's why we start with defining success of values. That's why we create these goals. That's why we say we're going to pursue this with 100% commitment. That's when we have the right attitude. But we always have to assess, do we have a strategy, a methodical, deliberate approach that we can execute every day, that we can assess every couple of days and say, are we on track? Do we need to make a shift? Are we getting closer to the destination and to success as we define it? And so I will be covering that during my first hour of teaching today. And then I'm going to go on this period where we do these one-on-one breaks. So this is the opportunity when the people inside of the jail get to come in to the Zoom program, and they get to look at me in the camera, present their questions, because if there's one thing I intend to be with them is 100% honest and transparent, telling them, hey, these are the strategies that I used, and I never ask anybody to do one thing that I didn't do. Every step of the way, it was, for me, was consistent with this mindset I had of saying, I'm going to come out of prison after 26 years and I will be unscathed. Nobody will know that I served a day in prison unless I told them. And that was the vision for me. It may not be the vision for somebody in there. Somebody in there may say, I want to become a master of chess, and so he's going to play chess all day. Somebody may say, I am going to become the best card player in the jail, and he may make decisions along that way. Somebody may say, I want to develop 22-inch biceps. That is fine. I'm not going to define success for him. He has to define success for him. But what he's got to do is figure it all out. How are the decisions that I am making today going to influence what I become in the days, weeks, months, years, and decades ahead? That is the big differentiator, and that's what we discuss in these one-on-one hot seats. And I challenge them, hey, if you don't agree with what I'm saying, let's debate this. These are lessons that I learned from leaders like Nelson Mandela, Viktor Frankl, Malcolm X, so many people, including Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Jack Welch. All leaders follow this very disciplined, deliberate path, and any one of us can choose to be the CEO of our life. We have to make that choice, and if we start thinking about what we're going to do, how we're going to get there, we begin building this roadmap, and that roadmap may include networking. It certainly did for me. I used to network from inside of a jail using super high technology. You know what I had? I had this, a ballpoint pen and a piece of paper, and I would reach out and write to people and tell them, hey, I'm serving 26 years in prison, but I want to change my life, and I'm asking you to help me. And that process led many people coming into my life. In fact, I even got married inside of a federal prison. It is that strategy that made all of the difference, and it's what allowed me to come back to society strong, with my dignity intact, with opportunities to build a career. And I'm continuing to use this process. I didn't learn it before sentencing, but I'm trying to teach it to many people in jail and prison before sentencing, because I know it can make a difference. I'm also striving to teach them, how do I use this process after sentencing, after I've left the court hearing where a judge has banged down the gavel and said, I hereby sentence you to the custody of the Attorney General. What are you going to use? How are you going to use this strategy to build your life while you're going inside of the belly of the beast, as they call it, inside of the prison system? How will you sustain energy and discipline? What choices are you going to make? Try to create your own disciplined, deliberate strategy, and you will come out differently after release. That's what I learned, and it's what I am still doing, and I'm super excited to be reaching out and interviewing leaders in society. Yesterday, I published 11 episodes with DJ Vlad, an individual who started with nothing but a single phone camera and turned that into a YouTube channel with more than 4 million subscribers. I interviewed Joe Guerrero, an individual who was in prison multiple times and came out and built the After Prison Show, a successful program that influences millions of people on social media. These are what people do when they follow this disciplined, deliberate strategy. But when you're living in struggle, you've got to have that aspiration of what you're going to become and not just focus on where you are. These are the lessons that I'm bringing into jails and prisons across America. Tomorrow, I have another interview with leaders of the California Department of Corrections about bringing this program inside CDCR, California Department of Corrections. We're in prisons across America right now, and we are looking forward to being a change. This is how I am living up to the inspiration I got from one of my mentors, Gandhi, who said, be the change that you want to see in the world. And I want you to think about incorporating these strategies into your life as well. Sadly, I have met more people in society that live in a far bigger prison than I was ever in while I was climbing through 26 years inside. So if you want to become something more than what you are today, think about going through these same strategies that we are teaching inside of jails and prisons in America. And if you've got a story to tell, reach out to us at Prison Professors, because we would love to profile you. Before I close, I just want to ask you, if you like this message, please subscribe to the program and ring the bell so you will be notified of every time I publish a new video. And if you could, please support our sponsors. We are sponsored by CBDTV.com, an organization that delivers calm and peace to people in struggle, and we are just so grateful that they're helping us get this message into more jails and prisons. CBDTV.com. Appreciate it if you could support our sponsors. Thank you.